All right, so if you could first start off with telling us your full name, where you were born, if you want, what year you were born, just give us a little bit of information to start us out.
Okay, my name is Anthony Edsel Keitt. I was born in New York City. 1955 is the year I was born, in February
How do you spell your
1955.
middle name? Just for
Edsel, Edsel.
S-E-L?
Right.
Okay. All right. And so you were born in New York. How many brothers? Tell us a little about your family.
I have two younger brothers, and like I said, they were both born in New York City. My mother is a native of South Carolina. My biological father is a native of Georgia. I think Macon, Georgia, and then he died at an early age. My early age, I can't remember what year. And then I was raised by a stepfather who was from Orlando, Florida.
And you have, so your two younger brothers, where do they live now?
Let me see. Actually, both of them still live in New York City.
Okay. Are they married?
No, they're not married. The one who's right underneath me has, I think, 5 children, and but he's not married. And my youngest brother has 1 child, and he's not married.
And about how old are the ages of their children? Are they like college age or more younger?
Wooly, who's the youngest brother, has a son who's in his mid-20s.
Okay.
And Frank's children are in their teens. I don't think there's anyone who's older than 19, but
So they're all fairly
yeah,
young still. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay, so tell us, when did you move to Ashland? Do you live in this area, or where exactly do you
I live in
live?
Ashland. I moved to Ashland in 1989 when I came here for this.
Born.
I feel so old.
Sorry.
No, I moved here with this job in 1989, and after having lived in Richmond for 3 years, and came to Richmond in 1986. My wife took a job at Virginia Commonwealth University. I followed her after that, and then I came up here in '89 and started working and living.
So you said you came for this job. Were you offered this job, and that's how you came here for it? So
I came in '89 as a on-campus housing coordinator. I was the first live-on housing coordinator for Randolph-Macon College, and so we lived in the Moreland apartment, my wife and I. And then after a year, my wife decided she didn't want to live on campus anymore because at that time Moreland was all male, and she was the only female in the building, and she didn't like that. And so we got permission to move off campus, and we've been living in Ashland ever since.
And exactly how far away are you from the school?
I'm over. Can be. I don't. But I'm over on Ash Cake Road, right next to Sheets, not too far from Sheets.
That's good. We go there a lot. So so you have 2 younger brothers. How many children do you have of your own?
I do not have any children.
You don't have any?
Do not have any biological children.
Okay. And so tell us more about your job. Like, what exactly do you do here now? Like, I know you came here as the live-on coordinator, but what do you do?
My current job, I'm the Director of Student Activities and Multicultural Affairs. Since I've been at Randolph-Macon College, I have been a housing coordinator. I have worked with Judicial Affairs. This is my second time around in student activities. And so I've done a variety of things since I've been here.
I know you took us, we went on the Washington, D.C. trip for our FYA. So for this project, what we're doing is we're going around and interviewing people from Ashland and just getting, like, the feel on certain things, like the relationship between the college and the community, like how you feel about that, and we'll ask you about that later. And then what we're going to do is we're actually recording it, and we're going to transcribe it all down, and it's going to go in the library for the 150th anniversary. So, like, future students can come in, and, like, we interviewed a woman who's lived in Ashland for a while, and so, like, her kids can go and look at it later. So why don't you tell me about, so your family's from New York City, so obviously they wouldn't know anything. Have they ever visited here?
I've had one brother who has come down. My youngest brother has been down here about twice to visit me. My mother has been here once. She had actually went to a family reunion in Alexandria, and so when that was over, I brought her down here for a couple of days.
And so what did they think about it?
Oh, they
like it?
love the place. They think it's very nice, very quiet. Growing up in New York City, my brother,
Big
really
difference,
really
I'm sure.
enjoyed the quietness. My mother is now back in South Carolina, so this is kind of on par with where she's at in terms of the quietness. But they love the town, they love the community, and they like the fact that I'm here.
So they like it. Now tell me what you think about it. Do you like how it's so small? Do you like the fact that like everything's so close? You have the train right in the middle. How do you feel about all that?
I like it. I'll be honest with you. It took me a while to get used to it. This is the smallest place I've ever lived, smallest place I've ever worked, and and so it took me a while to get used to the concept of seeing the same people over and over again. But I enjoy that. When my wife and I first got permission to move off campus, we were looking at moving back to Richmond. Because we had lived in Richmond for 3 years, and we wanted to go back. And in the time that it took us to find a place to live in Richmond, we became attracted to living in Ashland. We found appealing that every time we would go someplace or we drive some places, and people would wave at us. And she would say, "Well, do you know those people?" I say, "No, I don't know them." But they were just so friendly. We'd go places and go stop in stores, and people were very friendly, very hospitable. We started visiting, various churches. It was nice. As a matter of fact, I went to UCrops one time and ran into this woman. Her name is Geraldine Wells. She's no longer here with us. She passed a while back. But she invited me to come to her church, which was nice. But she invited me to actually be the worship leader of a program. And I was like, well, you don't know me. I don't. But she's just like, come. We're having friends and family day. I want you to come and do this. So I came, had a good time, and people were just so very friendly. And so, kept coming back to visit. And
what's the name of that church?
It's Shiloh Baptist Church, and it's over on James Street. And so we visited that a couple of times. And as we were looking for a church home, we eventually gravitated back to Shiloh. So that's where we're at right now.
I go to the Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
I love
Yes.
it.
Tell me about like your neighborhood. Is it like a multi-generational neighborhood, or is it more like single
The neighborhood I live
family?
in is, I refer to it more as a transitional neighborhood. We have people who have been there for, I guess, since it started. It's like about 10 to 15 years, maybe even longer. But I know some people who have been there for about 10 to 15 years. It's a neighborhood where people move in and out. I since I've been there, and I've been there now going on 3-4 years, I've seen a number of people selling their homes and new people coming in. There are quite a few what I refer to as starter homes there, and it's one of the neighborhoods where a number of working families or young families can come in and get started and then move on. But then you have a number of families who basically, like this couple about five doors down from me, they're at the retirement age. I think the husband still sells real estate, but they're pretty much beginning to wind down. And from what it looks like to me, they sold what I believe to be a larger house to move into a much smaller but very nice, comfortable house. So, but we have a lot of kids in the community. The block I live on, which is Sunny Drive, is very wide. Lots of kids play there, basketball all the time, up and down the street. That's the biggest problem is you drive up there, you have to make sure that you don't hit one of the kids because they're always out in the street playing. A lot of people run through there. People walk their dogs through there. It's always active, but it's a very nice, comfortable community.
Do you guys do like block parties and stuff like that? Is it that kind of neighborhood, or is it more like people kind of stick to
It depends on the
themselves?
section of the the street that I'm on. It's kind of a wide thoroughfare, and so people don't do as many block parties, but there are some other streets where they do that. One street in particular, when we had Hurricane Isabel a while back, and a lot of the power was knocked out, and so next thing I know, somebody from the street behind me said, "Come on over. We're grilling," and basically people were bringing all their food, and somebody had a grill, and it was just like every day, it was kind of like a party, and then people from the community were coming over, and as a matter of fact, there's a couple of professors that live in that community. I think Professor. Dr. Spagno lives in that complex, and the classics professor. Now, he'll kill me for not remembering his name. It's not Doherty. It's the other.
I was gonna say I have Doherty for a professor.
Not Dunkel.
No.
Dunkel's sociology. He'll come to me. See, when you get older, you start to lose your memory. But we have quite a few professors there, and I know at this party one day, the cookout, Dr. Post Lynch came over because her daughter knows one of the families over there, and they had invited her over to come and have cooking. So it was really nice. Yeah, and it's a nice community. And the thing I like about it is that you have Randolph Lincoln professors living there. You have teachers living there. My next door neighbor is a detective for the Henrico County Police Department. We have private business people there. Just it's a nice collection of people, and people are getting along, and it's really nice.
Okay, so in the town of Ashland, I know that there's Ashland Coffee and Tea and the Iron Horse, right? Do you find that you go, do you like U-Crops and the Walmart and the Target, down in VCC, or do you stay more in, the small area, small town, old school things?
Well, we'll let that ring.
If you need to answer, we can stop.
Yeah,
it.
we can
I don't
stop.
know. I just
No?
didn't,
Okay.
like I said, have the phone ringing on your tape.
Sorry.
I go to U-Crops. I use U-Crops quite a bit. That's
Do you have
what-
U-Crops, what is it, the member card?
Yeah, I have a U-Crops card. I have my U-Crops card. I go to U-Crops. I go to Food Lion. I don't go to Cross Brothers as much as I would like to. Just I don't make it away, but it's a great place. I know the owners of Cross Brothers, and I know quite a few members of my church. Their families go to Cross Brothers, and I like the quaintness and the idea of a grocery store where they'll deliver your food for you if you will choose, where you can still get food on credit. Put it on my tab and things like that. So I like that concept. It's and I shop there occasionally, but not a lot for groceries. And in terms of various stores and things like that, I'll go to Ashland Coffee and Tea, but I'm not a big coffee drinker. So a lot of times if I go there,
So did the Starbucks, was that something you were opposed to, or
no,
did
I
you
was
care
not
less?
opposed. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I really didn't care. I like the Starbucks and various other businesses. For the tax revenue. I'm on town council, so anything that brings money into town, I'm all for. But in terms of buying coffee and things like that, that wasn't a big thing for me. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she loves Starbucks, especially the red eye. She loves the red eye, and so so she was running over there quite a bit and getting stuff. And like I said, I will go to Ashland Coffee and Tea to get their shakes. They'll make the milkshakes for me, and I used to love it because I would go in. I remember the first time I went in, and they asked me if I wanted some coffee, and I said, "Well, I don't drink coffee. Because it's more. I'm not into warm beverages. I like cold beverages." Yeah. And so the owner asked me if he could make me a shake, and I said, I never had a coffee flavored shake. And so so he brought me one, and that was great. And so every time I went in, he's like, "Well, can I make a shake for you?" I said, "Fine." And he said, "What do you want?" I said, "Surprise me. Just make something." And every time he'd bring me something different, it would be really great. And so I'd go there for shakes. I'd go there for sandwiches and things like that. So, and again, it's a great place, I found, for meetings. If I want to meet with people and I don't want to meet on campus, I'll
It's
say,
nice and quiet. I feel like it's not a very loud, public, noisy place. So,
and then the other thing about Ashland Coffee and Tea, which I don't utilize as much, but I tell people about it all the time, is that it's one of the places where parents and their children can socialize at the same time. So you can go over there, and parents will be in the back room listening to live music. They can have their beer or whatever they're drinking, and the kids will be out in the outer part, playing games on the computer things. So it's yeah. So definitely, it's a place where people can, socialize and not, discard their kids. Right.
So, what about the Iron Horse? Do you and your wife frequent that a lot? Do you go out to dinner?
No, we don't go out to dinner as much as we should. Well, she'll tell you that.
Because you should. That's why my parents say we go out more than we should.
But I utilize the Iron Horse for lunch a lot more. We'll go out to lunch, either she and I, or I've gone there with lunch with other people. Occasionally, we will take friends to dinner, or we'll go to dinner. But again, it's a little bit pricey in terms of my price range. And well deserved. It's a top dollar high class restaurant. And you pay, and you get what you pay for, and you get some good stuff. But again, it's if I'm gonna eat there, it's gonna be lunch. It's not gonna be dinner. Now, Suzanne's, of course,
or a date.
Or a date, of course, a date, of course, a date. Suzanne's is a place frequent quite often for lunch, taking people over there for lunch.
What about anywhere in VCC? Do you go there a lot, or you just kind of? Is that just kind of somewhere?
No, no. I go to VCC not as much because I tend, I'm somewhat of a tightwad in terms of.
It's fun.
I don't spend money just to spend money, and a lot of times, if I'm going to buy something, the closer the better for me. So. For instance, the concept of Shop Ashland First, I try to support that. But even before that, if there was a store closer than the mall, then I would go to that store. Not that I was opposed to going to the mall, because I liked a lot of what the mall had to offer. A lot of stores, my wife likes a lot of the chains they have down there, the bigger stores. When it comes time to shopping for gifts, I'll run down there, to the mall.
You said you were on one of the councils.
I'm on the Ashland Town Council, yes.
So how does the town, what's the plan to kind of get rid of the empty spaces in Ashland, like the movie theater, or is there a plan? Or how do you all feel about it?
We don't as a member, as a council, and planning commission, because planning commission is part of, we don't like seeing empty space. And if we had the power to put businesses or things into those empty spaces, we would. The problem we run into is that many of those businesses are privately owned. So while we can encourage or even suggest things, if the owner doesn't want to work with us or follow our directions, we can't do anything about it. Because I know there's been some thoughts about I think it's the Henry Clay Shopping Center where Domino's is. There's been some space over there, and we have made some suggestions to encourage the owner of that to whether spruce it up and make it more attractive, or to bring in some business. And not that they've been resistant, but for some of the owners, for them it's kind of like, bottom line is they want to maintain their property without investing a whole lot of money into it, and so they may not see the return on the dollar that we see long term. I know one idea, and this has not come. I haven't pressed it. I went to a workshop at a local government conference, and they was talking about providing more workplace housing. Because one of the things that's a problem is that a lot of our school teachers, a lot of our police officers, fire emergency people, can't really afford to live in this community because the real estate is so high. So one of the things that the Virginia Department of Housing is doing is they're providing loans to various developers and various entities where you can redevelop various property, and they'll help to give you a low interest loan if you guarantee to provide X number, a small number of moderately priced housing. So you may have within a development 20 apartments, 20 condos, 3 of those or 4 of those have to be priced, for working professionals. The rest can be based on the market. They can be as expensive as you want, but you have to guarantee at least those 3 or 4 spaces. And so we're trying to encourage some of the private developers to look at that, to take some property that can be redeveloped. And for me, I think that complex, that Henry Clay Shopping Center, would be a great place to renovate, build some businesses with condos on top of it, things like that.
Yeah.
And if
like there's really nothing, I mean, there's what break is it?
There's
break
really
time?
no draw
But
to
yeah.
that area.
There's a lot. It's just like random things.
And so is if we can do that, if we can make those changes, I think that'd be great. Now, one of the things that's helping to move in that direction is the town of Ashland is working on redoing our comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan is a big land use plan that looks at providing direction for growth in the community for the future. And so it might say, like for instance, this section of Ashland, we want this section of Ashland to be, residential. We want this section to be commercial, things like that. And so we're looking at how to redesign that or how to plan it so when developers come in, they can see, hey, the town of Ashland wants this section to have single-family homes as opposed to townhouses and things like that. So all of that we're working on right now, and what I hope will happen is that when that plan is finished, it will encourage some of the developers to do the things that we're talking about now. To help aid that, we as a town will have to provide incentive, whether it's tax breaks, whether it's changing zoning so that zoning is more beneficial to to developers, things like that. Because right now the way things are set up is that people are coming in and developing based on what they see the plan says, okay? And the plan as it works right now is not what we feel is beneficial to the growth of Ashland. And some of the things that have happened in the past, for instance, one of the first things that happened when I came on board, right before I came on board at council, was the Walmart issue.
I was going to ask you about that.
Okay. Now, Walmart was a very heated situation here, in the town of Ashland. Part of it is because some people didn't want Walmart because they didn't like Walmart. Some people didn't want Walmart because they didn't want a big box coming in and potentially destroying private businesses. For me, I was against Walmart, but I was against Walmart because the developer wanted to use industrial property for commercial development. And I would have been fine if they said, okay, we'll build the Walmart on the commercial land. But they wanted a piece of industrial land, and they wanted to build Walmart on part of that. And when you use industrial land for commercial use, you're lowering the tax rate, so you don't get as much money for taxes. And you also set a precedent so that any other commercial business can come in and say, I want that property over here for my commercial business. And if you keep using up all your industrial property, then when an industrial business comes in, you don't have anything. So I was against it for that. Since that, so the Walmart came in, and it's there now. And as other commercial developments have come in, people have said, well, put it next to Walmart. Like, for instance, when the Lowe's came in, people kept saying, put that Lowe's next to Walmart. And we on the council said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to save that land for hopefully some future industrial business. Well, God has blessed us because now we have an industrial company that's going to be setting up in town that's going to produce coffee, and it's going to provide. Now you can't buy the coffee there, but it's going to produce coffee that will be distributed to various places.
When is that expected to happen?
I can't tell you the exact date, but all of the plans and things have moved forward, so it's going to happen. It's done. So and with that happening, other developers, we believe industrial developers will come in. So now what we have happening is we have a business that will provide jobs to people who will help people to be able to afford to live here in Ashland.
Yeah.
So everybody who works in Ashland won't be asking you if you want fries with this. People will be. So if we had not held out for that, if we had to let the Lowe's go over there and other places, that company would not have been able to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
very
good.
good.
That's good. Okay, so you talked about your position on town council. What about your wife? What does she do?
My wife has just recently completed her PhD in U.S. history. She is currently finishing a year's teaching assignment at the College of William and Mary. And so she's looking for a full-time position now.
Is she looking?
She's looking. She's looking wherever they have a full-time history position.
And do we have one open?
No, we do not. No, we do not. Actually, my wife was supposed to have taught here this past year as an adjunct professor. But then
What does that mean?
Adjunct means that you basically are assigned to teach like one class. You're not full-time. You're assigned to teach one class, maybe two classes.
Is it like a trial run?
It's not. No, it's not trial. It's
The filler.
part-time filler.
Okay.
Basically, you're not considered full-time. You're not eligible for tenure, things like that. So,
Is it like where it says on Macon Web, taught by staff? They kind of fill in professors.
Yeah, so that we don't.
it could be. It could be that. There could be staff. Sometimes the staff will be adjuncts.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the staff will be actual staff. Whether it's a counselor from the counseling center or someone from, someone from the college. But basically, when you're adjunct, a lot of times it means that person may not be teaching that course year to year.
Right.
They're coming in, filling in for that time because the college needs some extra people to teach courses.
And so what happened? Why she just decided not to come here to do that?
No, well, William and Mary offered her a full-time position.
Okay, so she got that.
Yeah, so she got that. It was a one-year appointment. So not only did she get paid, but she got benefits and things like that. So it was good. Yeah.
So in addition to town council and being here, do you do anything else involved in the community? I mean, I know I'm not saying that you don't. What you do
No. That's great. I have done a number of things in the community. Are you talking about the Ashland community specifically?
Well, Ashland and Randolph-Macon.
Okay. No, I meant you were like beyond, Richmond. Okay.
Just specifically Ashland.
I mentioned before about the church, Charlotte Baptist Church. I'm vice chair of the Deacons Ministry, and thank you. And so this is my third year doing that. And if everything works out, then next year I will be chair of the Deacons Ministry, and so that's been something that I've really valued. I was on the church's trustee ministry, but I gave that up to be a deacon. Let me see, anything else that I'm doing here in Ashland?
I know you must have a pretty busy schedule.
Well, very busy. No,
He's everywhere.
no, it's pretty busy. But in terms of officially, I gave up a number of things when I joined town council. For instance, I used to be on the board of directors for the Hanover County Black Heritage Society. I used to be a member of the board for the Ashland Stage Company, which no longer exists, and those are the only things in Ashland. I'm involved in a lot of things outside of Ashland, but since we're talking about Ashland specific, I'll leave that alone.
Are you the advisor of CAB?
I'm the CAB advisor.
So that's a job in itself.
I'm the CAB advisor. I'm the advisor to Brothers for Change.
Wow.
I'm the advisor to the Black Cultural Society, and I also oversee a mentoring program, the Making Peer Mentors.
So do you and your wife ever see each other? She's so busy.
No, that's why she wants to go on dates.
We'll pencil the wife in. I'll buy her horse on Friday.
Maybe.
No, it's funny because we don't we of course we see each other a lot, but there's a lot of times we don't spend together, and so we find ways to spend time. Like we have a running joke. One of our standing dates is over at church, because she's the church secretary, and I'm her unofficial assistant. So a lot of times we're at church, putting together the bulletins and folding and things like that. So to be Saturday night and we'll like, oh, here's our date. We're having a date at church.
Do you guys go anywhere over the summer? Do you?
We go away. We haven't done it this past couple of years because she's been finishing her dissertation and stuff. But we usually try to take a vacation. Whether it's going to get a hotel for a while. We used to have a friend. Unfortunately, he passed. But we used to do double vacations, going to Ocean City, Maryland, and stuff like that. And this year we're talking about renting a house on like Nags Head or whatever for a couple of weeks and going out. Ate some stuff with food. There's a couple in Richmond that we're really close to, and we do a lot of vacationing together. So usually what we'll try to do is during the winter months we'll take a week off and go off season to like Myrtle Beach and things like that. One time we took a cruise to a Caribbean cruise and stuff like that. So we went to Puerto Rico and St. Lucia and St. Thomas and Barbados and stuff like that. So that was really nice. So we try to to do vacations when we can. And again, we'll probably be doing more now that she's finished school, because she's been in school for 12 years now, and then she graduated beginning of summer and went straight into teaching this past year. So she really hasn't had time to like let her hair down and just relax. So this will be the first summer that we've been able to do that. Yes.
Wow, that's good. We'll do a stop it really quick and we'll check the time and then see. Sorry. Okay, did you take your water? You got it? Okay, all right. So tell me, what is the connection that you see, because, you're also part of the campus here and then part of the community in Ashland. Do you feel that there's a big connection? Is it, has it increased more? Are the students involved in the community? Is the community involved with the school?
Okay. A lot of questions. I'll try to answer them all. If I leave out something, let me know. The connection with the college and the town since I've been here has gotten better. Okay, I felt that the relationship was a strained relationship. There were individuals in town who felt that the college was not, giving its fair share back to the community. They felt that the college was not providing open access. And then on the other side, there were members of the college who felt that the town didn't fully appreciate what the college offered or provided. And so, again, there was just a lot of miscommunication. That has gotten better over the years, from things like the town being able to have the holiday parade that runs by the college, and seeing how the college has been supportive of the activities like that the town sponsors. There have been activities that the college has done over the years where we have opened our doors to town residents, invited them to be a part of programs and activities, just communicated more with them. That helps to break down some of those barriers. I think there are certain members of the town who feel that they benefit from the college and that the college wants them there by attending, for instance, activities like the symphony. We do the symphony a lot, and people from the town come, to the symphony.
Isn't there there's a Christmas, I'm in drama, and so my drama teacher tells me there's a Christmas pageant.
Christmas parade of homes. That's every other year. And then the other side of that, when that tour of homes is not going on, there's the Ashland Variety Show, where the Hanover Arts and Activity Center sponsors this, what I call a no talent show that takes place in Blackville Auditorium, and people from the community, come and they'll do numbers, and it might be grandparents and grandkids singing a number together. It might be husbands and wives singing a number together. Like for instance, there was one number my wife and I were in where they had all of these married couples, and we sang we sang the Beatles song. When I'm 64, will you still love me? Will you still need me when I'm 64? And what was cute about it is that we all had to dress up in complimentary costumes, and so so you had like one couple, like the husband was the front end of the horse and the wife was the tail end of the horse, like my wife and I, we were the top of a wedding cake, so she was dressed in like a little wedding dress and I was in tuxedo and stuff like that, but with little cute things. So that's the variety show, and that's something that's very important to the town, and the college helps out by providing the facilities each year. Now, where there's a problem in that not every part of the town participates in those activities, so you have a group of people who don't really see how the college benefits them. So we've been working harder and harder to do things that says, okay, we're there for you and your children. And this is my group of Brothers for Change. The last few years, they've had Community Day, where they go out into the community and they invite the children of the community to come and have access to our campus. Well, that's great for the children who are participating, but it also does great things for the parents by saying, hey, here's an outlet for your children, and we're showing you that we care. Spring Carnival.
We were part of that too.
Things like that. I from what I understand, the police are having midnight basketball in the alumni gym. So that's another way we can do that, and those things are great because unfortunately our college has a history of being closed to people in the community. And so some of the families and some of the children in the community have tried to access our campus, but were turned away. And so now they're seeing that we open doors. The other thing that we're doing or trying to do more is showing how we want to work to benefit the town by doing some cooperative planning and design when we are looking at doing some renovations to the streets and the buildings around here. It's no longer just the college doing this and excluding the town. We're having communications with the town to say this is what we're going to do together. Because again, since I've been here, there is so much fear in this town that the college is going to take things away from the town. And so they need to. The people in the community need to see that the things that the college is trying to do, we're trying to do it to benefit the town. Another project that we've been working on that has not been successful, but we've attempted at least twice that I know of, is we've attempted to, as a town, to gain access to the Ashland Theater and then turn it over to the college. Each time we've tried to do that, we've caught really negative feedback from the community because they're like, what are you using town money for to help out the college? The college has enough money where they can do that themselves. But what they don't realize is that some of the individuals who have owned that building in years past will only work with people within the town. So even though, like for instance, right now the most recent owner, A.D. Whitaker, he has said that he doesn't really have time to be involved in a lot of negotiation and things like that. So he had said to us in the past, well, town officials, if you can set this up with the town, then I'm okay with that. Well, as we were trying to move in that direction, then people started saying, who thought that they had permission to use those facilities ahead of anybody else. When they found out that the town was negotiating with the college, well, you're excluding, us from this thing. And so there's a whole lot of negative stuff, and so we had to back off.
Yes.
Yes.
So what did you want to talk about at the students? Like, obviously, you have really big influence on the students here and like a connection with all of them.
I just wanted to ask you how you felt about your relationship with the students and if that was kind of going to keep you here.
That is what has kept me here. When I came to Randolph Macon, it had been my intention to stay here for 3 years and then move on to other places. And that was in '89, and now I'm still here. and every time I think about moving on or doing something differently, then I end up changing my mind because again, great students like you, and to be honest with you, one of the reasons I'm no longer going to be on the Ashland Town Council is because I found that it was interfering too much with the work that I do with the students here on campus. Because when my role was more of an administrator and I wasn't working with CAB and things like that, then it was much easier for me to to do what I did here on campus during the day and some weekends, but not a lot. But now I'm finding I'm having to choose between town council meetings and CAB meetings. I'm having to choose between a town function or going on trip with the students. You can't. And as I told people, I said, my priority and the reason that I'm here is for my job with the students. And as my mother-in-law says, the reason I don't have any children is because I have too many children on campus.
Yeah.
Do you have alumni who come back and visit you and stuff like that?
All the time. I have alumni who come back to visit. I have alumni who still call on me for help and resources. As a matter of fact, let me see if I don't know if it's in this book or not.
We were looking at old pictures out in the front. I love pictures.
This is one student I used to work with. He had just been elected to the Chesterfield School Board, and and when he was getting ready to run, he was constantly calling me for advice and stuff like that.
That's really
and I remember saying to him, I said, Omar, what are people going to say? I said, here you are, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I said, and you're calling me, asking me for help and support, whatever. He said, I don't care what they say, And he's always trying to get me to switch parties. I said, no, I'm not switching, But again, but he's an example of I have alumni who are constantly coming back, constantly calling me, references, recommendations. So this
Do
is.
you have any more questions? I feel like you've done such
I
a
don't.
great job.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
We learned a lot.
I know. I really feel educated now. Well, before we turn the tape
You
off,
were educated.
I'm here because I'm educated. But so before we turn it off, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll let you know when this is going to be in the library, and you can go.
If you have any other questions or anything else, some clarification
we'll see
you
you
need, give me a
around.
call,
Thank you.
email me, and it's good to meet
It was
you
nice
in the
to
face,
finally meet you,
face to
yeah.
face.
I saw you in Estes. I think it was.